the red color that represents both the focus and the strength that results in an abundance of joy, of happiness, of fullness, of goodness.
Go to our website, which is HebrewLearningCircles.org. Go to Jewish Resources, scroll down to Parsha Videos, and you'll find the source sheet right there.
And Parshat Chassidut, Parshat Hukat Balak. In fact, we're going to focus on Parshat Hukat. And let's jump right in. Hukat Balak starts with the story of the red heifer, part of a ritual or procedure for purifying the impure. And so the parsha is going to go on to describe how the heifer is burned to ashes. The ashes is made is mixed with water to make some kind of fluid that is sprinkled on a person to purify them. And the first, this is again Parshat Hukat in the book of Numbers, chapter 19, verse 2. And let me share the verse with you. It goes like this: Zo chukat haTorah asher tziva Adonai le'emor. This is the ritual law that Adonai has commanded. Daber el bnei Yisrael ve'ikchu elecha para aduma. Speak to the people to bring you a red cow. Timima, which is perfect, asher ein bamum, in which there is no defect, asher lo ala aleha ol, and on which no yoke has been laid. So the Ishbitzer asks, the Torah presents 5 specific requirements for a qualified ritual red heifer. Very precise. The 5 are: it has to be a cow, it has to be a red cow, it has to be a red cow that is perfect, it has to be a perfect red cow that has no defect. Usually, literally on its face means no physical blemish to its body, and which has not had a yoke laid on it. In other words, it had not yet been used for work in the fields. And the Spitzer asks, why are these details symbolic in any way? So he quotes that sentence, Para aduma, timima, asher en bamum, asher lo alea ol. Those are the 5 requirements. Para hi nekudat hachaim shemafra umarba. So he tells us the cow is the point of life, or the essence of life, that multiplies and is fruitful. Be fruitful and multiply. Right, that's the first mitzvah in the Torah. And the cow, in that sense, is representing life. And the Ishbitzer is going to go on, and before I continue, I want to say that the Ishbitzer is going on and explain to us the deeper meanings behind each one of those 5 details. And what I want to point out, and this is in the source sheet, if you care to look at it, that he is not making these up, but he's basing them on a variety of sources in the Zohar, in the Talmud, etc. And for instance, why is a cow representing life? And he brings there's at least 2 sources. One in the Talmud that says that just like a cow that is plowing the field and walking in its in the, what do you call it, the furrow, in order to bring life to the world, right? That's where the plow is plowing. There will be food and life that is going to plant life that is going to grow. So is, according to the Talmud, the Torah is also directing us onto a path, because a furrow that brings us from a life, from death, from the path of death to the path of life, right? The Torah being the path of life. There's a source to each one of the metaphors that the Ishbitzer is going to share with us. So the cow is the point of life, Shemafal Malba, and there's a play on words here that cow para and mafra is fruitful, peri and para. There's a shared root, and therefore a cow is the animal that represents fruitfulness, multiplying, and the generative act of creating new life. And he continues, Aduma hi gevura v'simcha. The red cow, the red heifer, represents gevura v'simcha, the strength and joy. So again, this is a source from the Zohar that says that the color red is the color of strength, of the Sephira of Gevura, and also the color of joy, because they come together according to the Zohar here. So far we have the cow that is the source of generativity, and the color red, which is the source of gevura, which is strength. He says, Temimahi be'admumit. He says, what does it mean that she is perfect? And by the way, here he's referring to the commentary by Rashi. Rashi tells us that when the Torah tells us that the cow needs to be perfect, that means that we're looking for a red heifer, not that has like a reddish color. It's not a reddish heifer, but it's red, meaning that if there was one or two black hairs on its body, it would not count, according to Rashi, right? So it's perfection. It's the completeness of redness. The redness has to be complete, not a degree lesser in strength and joy. Shelo yeshum shtut b'ma'aseh Yisrael ki kol shotehu ba'al mum. And he's referring to the requirement that the cow would not have a blemish in it, is that there should not be no silliness, compromised mind, right? So consciousness, the mindfulness of this para should be the mindfulness of without a compromise. And he again brings that from a Talmud, a Gemara in the Talmud, where it discusses whether the conditions for a priest to be qualified for service, the Torah says that a priest should not have a blemish, and it discusses whether being mental blemish is considered as well. And according to the Gemara, yes, a mental blemish is also considered, and that is the mindlessness. And he says, "Shtut b'ma'aseh Yisrael ki kol shotehu ba'al mum." This is representing the state of mind that cannot be blemished. Right? This is what this stands for. And the last qualification, asher lo ala alea ol, that the cow should be one who had never had the burden of the yoke. He explains, cherut mikol ol. This represents, according to the Ishbitzer, a freedom of any kind of burden, whether physical enslavement or spiritual enslavement. And again, he brings a source to represent that. So the Gemara is discussing whether a person, when a person is buried, the shrouds a person, according to Jewish tradition, is wearing, whether that shroud could be from a cloth that is not kosher. And the Gemara says, yes, it can, because when the dead will be resurrected at the end of days, all the mitzvot, the yoke of the mitzvot is going to be canceled out. There will be no more mitzvot, and therefore it doesn't matter whether the shroud is kosher or not. The logic here that a cow that has no yoke on it is a cow who has no spiritual yoke. There's no effort involved in its spiritual endeavors or spiritual work. There is no more spiritual work because it had attained its fullness. The Ishbitzer is saying is that this red cow that is red completely, without a blemish and without any yoke upon it, without any restraints and obligations, is actually a metaphor for Israel, both as a people, collectively and individually. When we use that kind of cow to create that kind of mix fluid for purification, what we're doing is we're creating a mix that is holding the energy of the perfection of life, while impurity is representing the muck of the imperfection, the mess of life as it is. The purifying waters with the dust, the ashes of this burned cow, are holding the energy of the opposite of perfection. According to Rashi, another reason for the cow is because the cow here represents an antidote or sort of balancing out of the sin of the golden calf, right? So the mother of the calf, the cow, who is from which this purifying waters are mixture is made, is atoning for or balancing out, or you can say canceling out the energy of the golden calf, which is the representation of error, of blindness, of distraction, of impurity, and of the challenges of this world. What is the take home from this verse in the Torah that's really explaining the technicalities of a ancient ritual, actually several rituals in which people are found unfit for a whole bunch of reasons to enter the temple, to be part of divine service, and this is a way of bringing them back into the privilege, into the state of mind and state of being that makes them qualify again, right? So this is part of that kind of teshuva, of the correction of course. The Ishbitzer is enlightening us, showing us here that that the way to come back on course is to keep your eyes on the prize, right? To remember the goal, to remember the big picture and the long-term possibility of being fully human, fully in godliness, and fully fully correcting inevitable compromise and corruption that is part of the experience of life in the world. And this is the pull, and this is sort of the tension and the pull that we're constantly confronted with to follow a path that is so easy to slide off of, right? It's so easy to forget where we're going and what the potential is, and how suffering can be turned into abundance of joy, right? The Gevura and Simcha, the strength, the red color that represents both the focus and the strength that results in an abundance of joy, of happiness, of fullness, of goodness. And on that note, may we all be blessed to have our eye and our intentionality on that possibility, the ultimate possibility for human life. Thank you for learning with us today, and come back for more. Look forward to seeing you next week. Shalom for now.
Hey, thank you, everybody. Again, click subscribe button. Doesn't cost you anything. We really appreciate that. Like to have that extra layer of connection with you. Like and subscribe. Come back.
Ayim rabim lo yuklu